Well, hello there. Thank you so much for joining my massive October special where I do basically a Halloween board game video every single day of October, a new board game to explore. But I also actually made some specific seasonal merch that you can check out with art by your very own. So I'll go ahead and link that down below. This is only going to be available during this season, so thought I would let you know. All right, enjoy.
So let's talk about Horrified Universal Monsters. I've been playing this game pretty much since its release. I don't even know how old it is. When was this made? Oh, 2019. 2019? Is that true? I don't know, but either way, I thought it was older than that. We've been playing this game ever since its release. Horrified is a fantastic game. You're basically playing these heroes that are trying to fend off this village from these universal monsters. And the asymmetry in this game is not about your characters, where you do have a small ability, sure. It's actually in the puzzles that these monsters present. Each and every one of these monsters has a different way of playing the game, and it presents a different puzzle that you, as a team, have to solve. The only thing about this game that can suck is that it does lend itself a little bit to quarterbacking, where one player might be like, okay, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do this. One rule that we've had that we've kind of put into play, and it's really helped us, is we've kind of made it to where if somebody's focusing on one of the monsters, they just have to focus on that monster, and another person can't help with that unless they are also focusing on said monster, and that's really helped to prevent any of that kind of quarterbacking. Once you kind of get into that flow, it's become much more fun, and it's a lot harder, which is what I love about co-op games. I don't want to beat them every time. And speaking of this one, you can add more monsters to make it more hard. So if you want, an easy game, you just go up against like 2 monsters, moderate 3, insane 4. Then even within there, you can put the harder monsters out of those 4 and it gets even more tough. But one of the reasons why I love this game too is that it's such a simple game to operate. You're giving people a little reference card that shows all of the actions that they can do. They're very self-explanatory, like moving, guiding villagers, collecting all the items at their space. And then once you teach how those items relate to the monster puzzles, it's really easy to kind of get into very quickly. I think I've introduced this game to probably more groups than most games in my collection. This is just the perfect kind of gateway experience for most people. They're gonna dig this. Like you gotta get them in front of Horrified. And if they really love this system, there are other Horrified titles that they can check out. Well, a personal favorite of mine is definitely Horrified American Monsters, but there's also a new D&D one. So you can, shoot for the fences. You can bring them to all of these other, different things. But let's talk about some of these puzzles. I'll just give you like 2 of them, just give you a little spice, a little bit of spice on how these work. So, for example, you might encounter Frankenstein and the Bride. Now, Frankenstein and the Bride are going to be starting across the board from each other, and they're going to be trying to want to connect. But if they don't connect when they're not in love, that is when the terror increases. And when the terror marker goes up, you lose if it goes up too high. So you're trying to make them become in love by basically turning these wheels, by spending these certain colored items at their locations. Then you want them to meet, and once they meet, then you've kind of defeated the monster, so to speak, or solved the puzzle. Well, the Mummy has a crazy one where it's basically one of those puzzles where it's like a bunch of little numbers jumbled around and you have to get them in order to count, and they can be flipped over. You can only move one at a time. It's very, very puzzly. I think the Mummy has caused so much brain ache for a lot of people. Just a fantastic game if you want to get into the mood, get some cooperative vibes, but that is going to be Horrified. But even I realize that not everybody is into co-op games. Like I said, I'm not typically into co-op games. If you want to work with those universal monsters, but have a competitive game, well, I've got another game for you right above. Go ahead and click that, and let's talk about it.